Have you ever wondered why some leaders inspire action, loyalty, and innovation, while others, despite having the same resources, struggle to spark momentum? Why do companies like Apple, movements like civil rights, or people like Martin Luther King Jr. resonate so deeply with us? It's not luck, genius, or marketing. It's something far more foundational. They start with why. In Start With Why, Simon Sinek flips the script on traditional leadership and business thinking. He argues that the most influential people and organizations don't begin with what they do or how they do it, but with why they do it. This powerful concept, rooted in biology and psychology, challenges us to dig deep, reconnect with purpose, and lead from a place of clarity and conviction. So whether you're a startup founder, a team leader, a creative, or simply someone who wants to make a lasting impact, this isn't just a business book. It's a mindset shift. A call to lead differently. And this summary will walk you through the essence of that game-changing idea. Ready to rethink how you inspire others? Let's dive in. Welcome to Ease of Education, where knowledge meets clarity and growth begins. We believe true freedom, whether on field of finance, self-improvement, or entrepreneurship, it starts with the right education. That's why our mission is simple: to bring you deep, meaningful book summaries on self-improvement, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy that don't just inform, they transform. Our videos may be slightly longer, but that's because we value depth over shortcuts. We focus on giving you the full picture, not just surface-level ideas. No fancy graphics, no unnecessary distractions, just pure, practical wisdom that speaks directly to your goals. Every video is crafted with care to help you build confidence, sharpen your thinking, and take smarter steps toward financial success. Here, it's not just about learning, it's about growing together. Subscribe and let's turn your curiosity into confidence, one book at a time. Lesson number 1: A world that doesn't start with why. Why most organizations and leaders operate in a way that gets results, but not loyalty. First, learning, assume you know. The illusion of certainty and the unseen forces that truly guide our decisions. We like to think we're rational beings, calculated, informed, logical. But Simon Sinek flips that belief on its head. In truth, most of our decisions are not purely logical. We make choices based on gut feelings, emotional responses, and unseen intuitions, long before our rational minds catch up to justify them. Tremendous leaders understand this dance between instinct and intellect. They don't just deal in facts and figures, they tap into the invisible: trust, emotion, belief. While others rely on data, they connect with people on a deeper, almost unspoken level. It's not just about what we know, it's about what we feel. And that difference changes everything. Second, learning, carrots and sticks. Why manipulation gets attention, but purpose earns devotion. Let's be real, manipulation works. Discounts, flashy promotions, fear-based messaging, peer pressure, and gimmicks can absolutely drive behavior. But here's the catch: it only works for a while. These tactics don't build relationships, they build dependency on short-term tricks. Sinek calls this the carrots and sticks approach: rewards and punishments used to get people to act. It may spike sales or trigger action, but it doesn't inspire. It doesn't create loyalty. True loyalty, the kind that makes people stick around through thick and thin, comes from inspiration, not manipulation. It's when customers say, "I know there's a cheaper option, but I believe in what you stand for." Companies that fail to communicate their why lean too heavily on manipulation because they lack a deeper connection with their audience. They chase transactions instead of relationships, and over time, that leads to burnout, for both businesses and the people in them. The big takeaway from Lesson 1: if you don't start with why, you'll end up chasing short-term wins instead of building long-term impact. Sinek makes it clear. The world is full of leaders and businesses who know what they do and how they do it, but far fewer can clearly articulate why. Without that purpose, they're forced to rely on external tricks to gain attention. But those who start with why, those who communicate from the inside out, don't just sell products. They lead movements. And this is just the beginning. Lesson number 2, knowing your why. The foundation of trust, loyalty, and meaningful action begins with clarity of purpose. Third, learning clarity, discipline, and consistency. Why inspiration outlasts manipulation, and how loyalty is born. Think of the brands, leaders, or movements you love. Chances are, it's not just what they offer, it's what they stand for. It's how they make you feel. It's how they seem to reflect a piece of you. That's the magic of starting with why. According to Sinek, true loyalty doesn't come from clever slogans or competitive pricing, it's born when people believe what you believe. When your why is clear, consistent, and rooted in truth, you inspire people. And inspiration is far more powerful than persuasion. Here's the formula he lays out. Clarity of why, know and clearly articulate your purpose, your cause, your belief. Discipline of how, stay true to your values and principles that bring your why to life. Consistency of what, everything you say and do must reflect and reinforce your why. When all three align, you build something stronger than a customer base, you build a community of loyal believers. You stop being just a brand or a leader, and start becoming part of someone's identity. Because in the end, people don't buy what you do, they buy who they become by choosing you. It's not about the product, it's about the meaning behind it. It's about emotion. It's about trust. And when your why resonates, decisions stop being transactional and start becoming transformational. The big takeaway from Lesson 2, inspiration fosters loyalty. And loyalty is the engine of long-term success. When your message connects with someone's identity, it's no longer just business, it's personal. That's when people start choosing your brand, your mission, your vision, not because they have to, but because it says something about who they are. When you lead with clarity of purpose, backed by discipline and consistency, you don't chase loyalty, you earn it. Lesson 3, leaders need a following. Great leadership isn't about authority, it's about trust, culture, and shared belief. Fourth, learning, the emergence of trust. People follow those who make them feel safe, seen, and inspired. Trust isn't built overnight. It's not won through credentials or clever words, it's felt. It's sensed. And it's earned when people believe you care about something more than just your own success. Simon Sinek emphasizes this truth. Trust develops when we believe someone is acting in service of a greater purpose, not just personal gain. Whether it's a leader, a brand, or an organization, trust grows when people see shared values in action. We're hardwired to connect with people like us, those who believe what we believe. That's why strong cultures, not products, bind great organizations. Culture is the heartbeat. It attracts people who resonate with the mission and naturally repels those who don't fit. As Herb Kelleher, the legendary CEO of Southwest Airlines, put it, you don't hire for skills, you hire for attitude. You can always train someone to do the job, but you can't teach them to believe. That's why great companies don't just build teams, they build tribes. And great leaders? They don't micromanage brilliance, they create safe spaces where ideas can flourish. They protect their people, nurture belief, and inspire action. When people feel safe, they contribute. When they feel inspired, they give their best. That's how trust becomes the fuel for greatness. Fifth, learning, how a tipping point tips. Movements ignite not through logic, but through belief. Here's the problem with trying to convince someone logically to care about your product. People don't buy based on reason, they buy based on resonance. We assign personal value to what we care about. And value is subjective, emotional, and deeply personal. So when does a message tip from a whisper to a movement? When enough people start saying, I believe this too. The tipping point doesn't come when the masses are persuaded, it comes when a small group of early adopters share your values and help carry your message. These are the believers, not just the buyers. They don't need proof. They need clarity. And that clarity starts with your why. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't stand on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial and say, "I have a plan." He said, "I have a dream." That dream, the clarity of belief, gave people something to rally around. It wasn't about convincing them with facts. It was about showing them a future they could believe in. The big takeaway from Lesson 3: leaders don't need followers, they need believers. Trust comes from shared purpose, not persuasion. If you want to lead, don't just seek attention. Seek alignment. Make your purpose loud and clear. When people feel they're part of something bigger than themselves, that's when they follow with their hearts, not just their wallets. True leadership begins not with command, but with connection. Lesson number 4: how to rally those who believe. Turning belief into action requires both vision and execution, and communicating it with clarity. Sixth learning: start with why, but know how. Vision needs execution, or it remains just a dream. Having a compelling why is powerful, but it's not enough. Without action, belief fades. That's why visionaries, those who dream big, see the future, and inspire with purpose, need partners. They need how types. These are the builders, the implementers, the people who quietly design the systems that bring the dream to life. Sinek warns of the starving visionary, a person with limitless purpose but no structure to act on it. They often struggle to gain traction because inspiration without implementation is like a rocket with no launch pad. The lesson here: great organizations thrive when why types and how types work in harmony. Vision needs structure. Purpose needs process. Inspiration needs execution. And the leaders who understand this balance don't just dream, they deliver. Seventh learning: know why. Know how. Then what? Great companies lead with purpose, build with clarity, and express with consistency. Once the why is clear, and the how is mapped, the what becomes the physical expression of belief. It's the product, the service, the experience. But make no mistake, it must align with the why, or people will feel the disconnect. Sinek uses Apple as a prime example. They don't just sell computers or phones. They champion the empowerment of the individual spirit. Every ad, every store, every product reflects that belief. That's why people don't just buy Apple, they join Apple. Here's where the brain science kicks in. The why sits in the limbic brain, which drives feelings and decisions but lacks language. The what lives in the neocortex, where logic and language reside. So when leaders speak from the inside out, starting with why, they speak to the heart first. Then, the what backs it up with logic. That's how belief becomes action. 8. Learning: communication is not about speaking, it's about listening. To lead is to listen, and to reflect what people truly value. Symbols, slogans, and logos mean nothing on their own. They only carry weight when they represent something deeper. And too often, companies get caught up in what they're saying, without considering what people are hearing, or feeling. Apple's logo is more than a piece of design. It represents rebellion, simplicity, innovation, because everything they do reinforces those values. That's why their message resonates, not because of what they say, but because they live it. True communication is emotional. It's about alignment between what you believe and what you do. And when people see that consistency, they trust. They follow. They stay. When you start with why, decisions become easier. Messaging becomes clearer. Mistakes become avoidable. Because everything flows from belief, and belief is what people respond to. The big takeaway from Lesson 4: it takes both inspiration and execution to rally others, and your actions must echo your beliefs. Belief without action leads nowhere. Action without belief feels hollow. But when why, how, and what align, you create something extraordinary, a movement others want to be part of. Leadership isn't just about saying the right things. It's about living your values, building with discipline, and showing the world, consistently, what you stand for. Lesson number 5: the biggest challenge is success. The real test of purpose isn't in the struggle, it's in what happens after you win. 9th learning, when why goes fuzzy, success can be the most dangerous place for your purpose to hide. Here's the paradox, we chase success thinking it will bring fulfillment, but all too often, it leaves us feeling empty. Why? Because somewhere along the way, we start measuring the wrong things. We begin to focus more on what we do and how much of it we achieve, and less on why we started in the first place. Simon Sinek calls this the moment when our why goes fuzzy. When we lose sight of our purpose, we fall into the trap of chasing metrics, milestones, or money, mistaking motion for meaning. We keep moving forward, but something inside us feels disconnected. Success should amplify your why, not drown it. But if you're not intentional, growth and external validation can blur the original purpose that gave your journey meaning in the first place. 10th learning, split happens. The bigger you grow, the easier it is to drift away from your purpose. In the early days of a company or movement, the why is alive in everything. It's in the conversations, the culture, the decisions. But as growth comes, more people, more processes, more pressure, the why often fades into the background. Sinek calls this the split, the growing gap between why and what. When that split widens, innovation slows, morale drops, and decisions become reactive rather than intentional. People start working for the paycheck, not the purpose. Large companies often make the mistake of focusing only on what they're doing, products, profits, promotions, while forgetting why they exist at all. And when that happens, they lose the very thing that made them successful in the first place. The challenge isn't just to find your why. It's to protect it. Nurture it. And let it guide you, especially when things are going well. The big takeaway from Lesson 5, success is not the end goal, staying true to your why is. Your why is your compass. And the moment you stop using it to navigate your decisions, you risk drifting, no matter how big, profitable, or visible you become. Leaders and organizations must fight to keep their why at the center of everything. Because in a world that constantly tempts us to chase more, the real achievement is staying grounded in what matters most. Lesson number 6, discover why. Purpose isn't invented, it's remembered. 11th learning, the origins of a why. Your why is not something you create, it's something you uncover. One of the most liberating ideas Simon Sinek offers is this: everyone has a why. Every person. Every company. Every movement. But you don't create it, you discover it. It's already there, rooted in your past experiences, in the defining moments that shaped how you see the world. The process of finding it is about looking inward, not outward. The hardest part isn't discovering your why, it's having the discipline and the courage to stay true to it. Especially when the world tempts you with easier paths. Sinek offers a simple but profound distinction. There's a difference between running with all your heart with your eyes closed, and running with all your heart with your eyes wide open. When you know your why, you run with your eyes wide open, bold, focused, and aware. That's when you lead not just with passion, but with purpose. 12th learning, the new competition. The only competition that matters is the one within. In a world obsessed with outperforming others, Sinek flips the narrative. Stop competing against everyone else. Start competing against yourself. When we lose our why, we start chasing external validation, market share, awards, applause. But true growth, and real leadership, comes when we commit to becoming better versions of ourselves, every day. This isn't about crushing the competition, it's about building partnerships with people who believe what you believe. It's about creating a future where success is shared, not hoarded. The goal isn't just to sell to customers, it's to find people who believe what you believe and work together to create impact. Afterward, be a part of this movement. Leadership isn't a title. It's a responsibility, and a calling. Simon Sinek closes with a challenge: be the kind of leader who starts with why. Leadership is not about power or position. It's about people. It's about being bold enough to imagine a better world, and brave enough to bring others along for the journey. Great leaders don't just do tasks. They don't just make plans. They start with why we need to do something, and they inspire others to act. Your why is the seed of your legacy. When you live it, speak it, and stay true to it, you don't just lead, you ignite belief in others. The final takeaway: lead from the inside out. Start with why ends where every powerful movement begins, with purpose. In a world filled with noise, manipulation, and empty ambition, those who lead with why will always stand out, not just for what they do, but for what they represent. Because people don't follow leaders for what they do, they follow them for why they do it. So here's your call to action: discover your why. Speak it. Live it. And lead others by inspiring them to find theirs. That's how we change the world, one purpose at a time. And so we come to the end of why, but this is not the end of your journey. It's only the beginning. You've explored the depths of curiosity, the power of purpose, and the driving question behind every meaningful action: why? But asking the question is just the first step. Living the answer, that's where transformation begins. If this book stirred something within you, if it challenged the way you see the world or helped you uncover a deeper reason behind your goals, then don't stop here. Join a growing community of thinkers, dreamers, and doers who are daring to ask more, dig deeper, and pursue purpose with passion. Subscribe to our channel, not just for more insights, but for a movement. A space where why leads the way and where your voice matters. Together, let's keep asking, keep growing, and keep turning why into wow. This isn't just a book. This is a call to action. Your why brought you here. Let it take you further. Subscribe now, and let's move forward, together.